And welcome back to the gray space. I'm Zeke. That is Trey. I should have got some water.
You need some water.
I'm good. When I did that never happens, by the way.
I know.
I must have. I used my throat instead of using my diaphragm. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's that Miami Vice T-shirt you got on right there.
Hell yeah, man. You know I'm looking clean, bro. You know I'm looking clean.
Miami,
so fresh and so clean,
Miami Vice Zeke over here.
Yeah. It's that time of year, bro.
Yes. We are back. We are back on the gray space. Before we get going, y'all know what to do. Make sure you subscribe to become part of the tribe. Do us right. Hit that like and comment if you are rocking with the content. We know you are, so go ahead and do that. You know what I mean? Spotify, Apple, wherever you are listening, leave a 5-star review. Now, it's been a minute since we did one of these, so I got to get back into the cha-cha slide of this. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, fall is here. It's definitely here for sure. And I love it. And a lot of things have been happening. The world is crazy right now, as we know. Internationally, nationally, things are crazy. Sports is at the ultimate high right now. As of recording this, World Series just ended. Shout out to the Rangers. Shout out to Corey Seager. I want to give a big shout out to Corey Seager real quick.
Okay.
Corey Seager played for the Dodgers, and they didn't want to pay the man because they had another guy on the team named Trey Turner who played the same position, who they thought was going to stay. He ended up going to the Phillies, so we didn't keep none of them. Corey Seager was the MVP when the Dodgers won the championship recently, and he was now just the MVP of the Texas Rangers. He joins a very few to have 2 MVPs in general. It is only him and Reggie Jackson who have 2 MVPs, one with 2 separate teams.
Man, you said Reggie Jackson.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, right?
I love Reggie Jackson.
Now, here's where it gets crazy.
Oh, man. You brought me flashback. Sorry, man.
Corey Seager is the only, and I think I'm correct on this, I'm pretty sure I'm correct, is the only player to have 2 MVPs and 1 in the NL and 1 in the AL.
Oh, interesting.
So Corey Seager is a Hall of Famer in my opinion. I wish he would have stayed with the Dodgers. The guy just shows up in October and November like no other. So shout out to the Texas Rangers. That was an exciting series. And shout out to the Diamondbacks too, man. Shout out to the Diamondbacks for fighting through. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody expected them to be there.
Bro.
Super underdogs, man. Like,
and they ran the gamut. You know what I mean?
They did. They
really did. I mean, you got to at least give them props for that.
And I think if there was a game that they probably should have won early. They probably should have been coming back to Arizona up 2-0 instead of 1-1. I think had they won that game, the series might have at least been a little different, went a little bit longer.
Sure.
But, man, they fought. You know what I'm saying? They fought. They did well. And, yeah, man, shout out to the Diamondbacks, man. But, man, basketball's in full swing. Basketball's got now an in-season tournament.
By the way, I just before I came over here, man, to shoot this, I was on socials, whatever. I don't know what I was on, man. And they were interviewing someone from the Clippers, and they were like, so what's this? And they were like, well, you don't know what that is either. I feel like, does anybody know what this in-season tournament really is?
So it is a way.
It's so confusing, man.
First time they're ever doing it. It's a way to generate interest during the football season, for one.
Okay.
Because we know that when football's around college and NFL, that's what we're watching, right?
There's a trophy with this. Is there not?
There's a trophy with this. Also, the winning team, each player on the team gets $500,000.
Wow. Okay.
So from what I saw, from what I said, don't kill me. This is what I saw on ESPN. They said every player on the winning team gets $500,000. I don't know if that's the case. That sounds like a lot to give every single player. You know what I'm saying? But when when these guys are billionaires, $500,000 is like $5 to them. You know what I'm saying? Just keeping it real.
All right.
And I don't know if maybe they're pulling from the revenue of the NBA or whatever. They might be doing that too. But it's a way to boost it up during football season, and also boost it up during the regular season, because the last like 5 to 6 years, regular season's just gone out the window. Like, nobody cares. It's just like, let's just make sure we're in the playoffs. You know what I mean? And then we can go from there.
Let me ask you a question, man. Do you think it would serve better to have a shorter season? Like, say, maybe getting started in
I could say yes.
Let's say getting started in January. I know football's still going on and it's playoffs and stuff like that. So, but like, because it goes from November to summer, right? The all the way to the finals. When does the finals happen? May, June,
like May.
So, would it serve it better? Do you think? Just opinion wise, do you think it would serve it better to be a little bit shorter?
Yes, but here's the thing: it's never going to happen.
I know. It's all money, but I'm just saying, like, in a perfect world, right?
Yeah,
would it serve it better?
If it was a shorter season, yes, you would have a more competitive season because every game would count more. I mean, this is why. Why do you think people love football?
Right, because every game pretty much counts.
Every single game counts. You lose a game,
it might be the one. Yeah,
it's the difference between the 1 seed sometimes and the 6th seed. It's the difference between being in the playoffs and not being in the playoffs. It's the difference between having the number 1 pick in the next draft to having the 15th pick. Like the NFL and in college, it's the difference between making it to the playoffs, being in the top 25. Like, you lose 2 games in college and you're a Power 5, conference team, your season might be done. Right? Like, if you're Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, you lose more than 1 game, your season might be done.
Right.
So people love that. And but I think look, I don't mind the NBA being as long.
That's 80 some games, right?
82 games.
Yeah.
I don't mind the season being as long as it is. I just think that when you've had all this like load management shit that's been going on, like players not playing early in the season.
Oh, okay.
To me, it's like you want to load manage the minutes. Don't load manage the games. Now I get it. Sometimes you're playing like, some of these teams and ain't that good. You know what I mean? But I do like the thought of the in-season tournament. This is what I've been saying, and I feel like sports needs to, like, all the major sports need to figure this shit out right here, right?
Okay.
When we do these things during the regular season, like baseball, which I never understood why they got rid of this rule, but baseball used to do they still do the All-Star game, but the All-Star game used to count towards who got home field advantage, right, in the World Series.
Right. Whoever won the American League or the National League, they got the.
Didn't matter what freaking team or what your record was, right? Now, a lot of people got upset because it's like, well, what if you got you put all this hard work for the regular season, da-da-da-da. I kind of get that. But then at the same time, when we're talking about World Series teams, like playoff teams, records they play so many games that the records are so damn close. I mean, unless you're dominating. And then this year showed us that records didn't mean a damn thing.
Right.
Because nor the Rangers nor the Diamondbacks were even supposed to smell the damn World Series, and they were both in it.
Right.
So go ahead.
Real quick, man, I really think to kind of answer my question, not even about the NBA, but more of Major League Baseball, is I believe that sport in particular can use a reduction of games. I 100%. Really do.
100%.
Now, you could keep it like, because it's 140 something, right? 142, something like that. I really feel like 90 to 100 is probably a sweet spot.
Yeah.
Because you take away those 40, right? It makes it just a little bit more interesting.
Yeah.
Because then again, Diamondbacks and Rangers might not even been there if it were shortened down.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now, I'm not saying it's good or bad or any type of way.
Right.
But it's almost like the first half up to the All-Star game doesn't really mean jack squat.
Well, and see, this is the thing, right? So now that they've taken that rule out for the All-Star game, like now MLB probably has one of the best All-Star like weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's very exciting.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
The competitions are great.
Yeah,
Obviously,
I love that
the
stuff.
home run competition has never lost its luster. Like it's still great. People are hitting home runs in clips they've never hit. I mean,
I'm with you on that.
You take the Julio Rodriguez's who are like super tiny, who's just smoking. You know what I mean?
And MLB has done some really cool stuff, in my opinion.
Recently
with like the clock and getting the pitches off, getting the batters in the batter box.
100%.
It moved the game. You know what I mean?
So my thing with quicker. Like the NBA is okay. Have this in-season tournament, right? But make it mean something down the line. Mm-hmm. Like, great participation trophy, but it's not the NBA championship.
Right.
It's the not even mid-season, early season.
Yeah, for sure.
Championship, right? So make it have implication potentially for the playoffs.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like let's say you've got two teams tied going down to the play-in tournament, right? You got to have the play-in tournament for that. I love about the NBA that they have the play-in tournament for the playoffs. You got two teams tied. We got two teams tied. Hey, let's go back to the in-season tournament. What was the seeding like at the end of that tournament? Okay, well, it's between you and you, but they were the number 3 seed in the in-season tournament. Like, make it have implication down the road besides because this all counts towards the record. It's all regular season. They're playing regular season games,
right? And
putting a bow and some nice little wrapping around it, and a couple of little ducats in there, right?
So, of course.
Make it mean something. Like, I've always said this, bro. Like, if every sport did this, especially when you have either tournaments, like in college, you have your conference championship games, right? Basically, the end of the season is your conference tournament. You're playing almost exclusively people in your conference. Then you have conference championship games, the West versus the East, North versus the South, whatever. That directly affects seeding and playoffs. Like, you could have two teams that are tied, playing each other in the SEC championship. One smokes the other, right? In the SEC championship, that one that got smoked or even beats the other, they not in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So when you do these things, make it have implication. So, because trust me, at the end of the day, these guys are competitors, right? Which is why they're like, we want to be here at the end of the season. We want to be healthy at the end of the season because we want to be trying to fight for a championship. But if you make this shit matter for the end of the season, they'll be like, well, I got to ball out. Right. I got to play 35 minutes. You know what I'm saying? I got to play 40 minutes. Like, I got to be there because this could potentially affect seeding down the road. This could potentially affect home court advantage down the road.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And that's what I think. And then make it, if you're going to do this, make this thing like an Eastern, I don't know if it is, but make it like an Eastern West Coast thing. Make it like a
that
early
would be
season
kind of cool. That would be actually really cool.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, to me, what they should have done is, and I get why they're doing it now because of the NFL. But I'd be like, yo, take the L to the NFL for the first part of the season. Ramp this shit up right before All-Star game.
Yeah.
Ramp this shit up right before All-Star game. Boom, you go on the All-Star break. Now have it have implications on the playoffs. and then have the All-Star game have implications on maybe seeding or home court advantage.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the way you do it, you know? Or make it affect draft picks, right?
Oh, I don't know about that, though.
You know what I'm saying?
So?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Well, because
it's a lottery.
I was just going to say.
The lottery is rigged, dog.
I was just going to say.
There's no way that Victor Wembanyama ends up in international all-star who they compared to Kevin Durant / Tim Duncan, ends up for the one guy who does nothing but coach foreigners, Greg Popovich, and all of a sudden they get the number 1 pick. The lottery's been rigged since it's been a lottery, dog.
I get what you're saying, dude. The lottery, I totally forgot about the lottery system.
So make the in-season tournament affect draft status.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just saying.
Little side note here. How's your Lakers doing? I know you're a Lakers fan.
Oh, they're doing good.
Yeah, they're all right. They look okay this year?
They look okay. They're not, man. I mean, LeBron's, 21st year, man, and he's still playing at a all-time great level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's playing a lot of minutes, which is kind of tough for it to be so early in the season. Like he's playing like damn near almost 40 minutes. It's Anthony Davis, man. It's Anthony Davis if he's so up and down, man. And we know this about Anthony Davis. The dude could be the best. He can play some nights like he's the best damn player in the league, and it's not even close. And then he can play some nights like he's like the number 4 option. And it doesn't make sense. Okay. He's got all the talent in the world.
I know it's early, but I just wanted to ask.
But they played everybody, like they played some good teams starting out, right?
Okay,
so they played, they played the Nuggets to start the season. They played the Suns, who they have the talent. They still got to gel. They still got to figure it out.
I always feel like the Suns, man, take them a minute to get rolling for whatever reason. At least especially over the past couple of years. You know what I mean? So it's just.
And this year they got so much talent, bro. Like. They got Kevin Durant. They got Devin Booker.
Right.
They got Bradley Beal. They
for whatever reason, I just feel like it just takes them a minute to gel. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then once they get rolling, you're like, especially what I mean is the past like couple of years, right? Because you're just like, and then it's just like this trajectory where it's like they start out okay, you know what I mean? But then there's always just like this climb that they do. You know what I mean? Again, especially a couple of years. How about my team, the Miami Heat, dude? How they fucking doing? How's the Miami Heat doing, bro?
Miami Heat, that's crazy.
Shoot.
Well, you know what? One of your real teams is a real contender, man.
What team is that?
The Detroit Lions.
Oh, we're switching to football again.
Shout out to the Detroit.
Yeah, you know what, man?
Leones.
You know what? I typically tune out of the NFL because of I've been a Lions fan, just so you guys know.
This is a fact.
Since the 90s, right? Because my guy, Barry Sanders, was on there, man. Like, when I first got introduced to football, really watched it, I should say, I was at my friend's house, and his brother was a huge Detroit Lions fan. Now, at this point, I could care less, right? Like, I knew about football, but I just, wasn't really presented in my house that much. And so seeing the games at my friend's house, Detroit was always on. I don't know how they got the games, especially back in the 90s. I don't know how that all transpired. But always seeing Barry Sanders made me such a fan of him in itself, just because he was just such a genuine dude. Like, after doing a run, he'd always just hand the ball to referees, and it just had class to him, right?
Right.
Besides being like one of the greatest running backs to ever, mean,
in my opinion, the greatest.
Well, and everybody's got, their top pick, but I mean, you would put Barry Sanders at least in a top 5 somewhere.
Yeah.
I really believe you would, right? Even though he didn't win any championships, anything like that.
Right.
But just the type of runner he was. So I was like, well, man, they're my team now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, because I just watched them so much. You know, so as a kid, you're just like, well, I didn't grow up with any football except for like the Detroit Lions and watching Detroit the whole time, right? And just being disappointed for year after year after year after year after year.
And they've had talent.
Trust me, dude.
Tremendous talent.
Look at Matthew Stafford, right?
Stafford, Megatron,
yeah.
Reggie Bush for a little bit there. I mean, some of his better years were in Detroit.
Herman Moore.
Yeah, I mean, they've had...
Bro, like, there's just... It's just like nothing has really...
Charlie Batch.
I forgot about
Shout out to Charlie Batch.
I forgot
Charlie
about
Batch was kind of cold for a couple of years there,
for a couple
dog.
years.
Charlie Batch was a real deal for a couple of years.
Right? I feel bad for a lot of these different players, right?
Yeah.
Because, and the same with Barry Sanders.
Yeah.
Because a lot of stuff was not built.
It wasn't their fault.
Yeah. It wasn't built around, not necessarily them, but like, getting somewhere, right?
Yeah.
You know, defense sucked, you know, but their offense might be really good. I feel like this year in particular is a really good look at a solid performance between both offense and defensive side of the ball.
And you know what I think too, man, is when you get the right coach, when you get the right management in place, right? And a team, and I really believe this, teams that are successful mimic the area that they're in, right? Detroit, cold, hard workers, right? Labor, factories, cars, Ford, right? Chevrolet. Like when you think Detroit, you think the hood, you think it's cold, you think it's motherfuckers grinding, working, right? 9 to 5s, 10 to 10s, like really putting in the work, beanies, hoodied up, like early in the morning. You know what I'm saying? You think grit and grime, right? Pittsburgh, you think grit, grime. You think blue collar, Philly, blue collar. When these teams mimic the city, they traditionally are successful. LA, flashy. Whenever LA teams have been very good, it's been heavy star power, flashy, right? Most Miami, same thing, right? So Detroit finally got a guy who could walk in the neighborhoods to coach that team.
Yeah.
And then he went and got a bunch of guys who could walk in the neighborhoods of Detroit to play for that team. And he's talking about biting fucking kneecaps off. And everybody's like, you're fucking nuts. And Detroit's going, yeah, motherfucker, we bite kneecaps off out here, bro, because we really about that shit. And you get a guy in Jared Goff who's been to the Super Bowl, who is a very good, one of the best, stat-wise, has been a top 5, top 10 quarterback this year. And he's gritty and he's grimy and he works and you just look up and it's like, yeah, I'm just going to fight through this shit, right? And it's like Amon-Ra St. Brown, same thing, right? They just get guys and then they finally got a defense that matched the offense and then special teams. And look, man, they're not bums. They're playing good. They beat Kansas City. Like they're playing teams and hanging with them.
Yeah. Look, man,
them.
This is the end of last year to the beginning of this year. Has been phenomenal.
Yeah.
Right. It's just been a continuous, they're not flawless or, in any way, but they are a really all around good football team.
Yeah,
they really
they're one
are.
Of the top 5, 6 teams in the
for
league
sure,
right now.
and this season in particular, man, it's just really kind of interesting. Anyways, from the NFL, I've been really following it this year more than any years. And again, that's due to Detroit actually being pretty good this year.
Right.
It's still a toss up to me, man. Like I can't really, you have like the Phillies, right? That's like 7-1, but you have Miami that's in here now.
Yeah.
You got, Baltimore's looking pretty good, who beat the pants off of, Lions,
Yeah.
And then, but then, you got the 49ers are out, but they looked really bad past 3 games at this point.
Weeks,
you know what I mean? And then,
Dallas.
So Dallas is looking good. And it's just like, I don't really know what is going to happen this year.
No.
Like
this is where you talk about a one game.
This year in particular is going to be very interesting to see who
One
goes.
game can change
And the teams that were good in the past look absolutely terrible this year. Like Patriots look terrible. They weren't great last year either.
Pittsburgh doesn't look great.
But I mean, like there's just certain things, you're like, what is happening?
What's going on?
And I want to say something too, because specifically this year is interesting because I'm going to just talk about quarterbacks real quick, man. Besides like one or two, there's really no like Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady type of quarterback, really, except for like Pat Mahomes.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I think
there's no real like.
No,
I think there will be.
I know what I think is that the separation is no longer there. I think quarterback play has gotten so good.
Okay.
Because and because it's more of a dual threat now, that the separation between the Peytons and the Rodgers and the Bradys and the guys behind them, the Ben Roethlisbergers and the guys behind them, is not a vast separation. Like Patrick Mahomes, let's put it like Patrick Mahomes is a different stratosphere, and he's had every single receiver on his team not named Travis Kelce drop the fucking ball this year.
Oh yeah, of course.
Wide open passes.
But aren't they young?
I don't give a shit, man. I don't give a shit. These motherfuckers, you've been playing football since you was probably like 12. You don't know how to catch a wide open pass. You shouldn't be in the fucking NFL.
Right.
Period.
Right. I get you.
Period. Some of them drops, bro. You and I could have caught them, bro.
It is
Keep
amazing.
It
is amazing though. Real quick, it is amazing. Like some of these receivers, right, that will do these crazy one-handed, but then something right in the numbers, right in the chest, they can't catch it. Man, it's very interesting to me.
But I just think the separation is not there anymore because, again, go down the list, bro. Lamar Jackson, Trevor Lawrence, Tua Tagovailoa, Jared Goff, right? The list goes. I mean, dude, Derek Carr. Who am I? I mean, you could Dak Prescott. Like the separation between these quarterbacks is not that big, right? It's like you could kind of go with any one of them. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're like Lamar Jackson, talent wise, crazy. Patrick Mahomes is already in the pantheon of greatest quarterbacks to ever play, right? I mean, guy's already got 2 Super Bowls, and he's still young. But yeah, the separation just isn't what it used to be. Right. You know, like some quarterbacks used to be so great that everybody else was pedestrian. You know? So it's that's what I think has made the NFL so incredible this year.
Well, and then
Josh Allen. I mean, you go down the list, you're like
it's crazy, right? Because even like Cleveland and the Jets, right? Like who would have thought they have a chance? Either one of those teams, man.
And they don't have a quarterback.
Can go somewhere this year, right? Like Cleveland and the Jets, even though the Jets lost Aaron Rodgers, like
you're still playing well.
They're playing well enough,
right?
And they're competing well enough with all these other teams,
right?
They have a chance to be like the Diamondbacks and the Rangers this 100%. Year, in a sense of just to squeak in, right? Yeah. And maybe play a wild card game and take it all the way. Right. I mean, it could be one of those years this year. I'm not saying it's going to be, but it could be.
Could be.
You know, it's a very interesting NFL year to me.
Yeah.
And I really like these types of years because we don't have the Tom Brady's and the Peyton Mannings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're just like, the same old show again. You know what I mean? And I think it's good for the sport to have teams like that. Don't get me wrong. But it's nice to have like a little refresher.
That parody is great.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just to see, okay, who's up and coming, who we doing? Yeah. So I want to talk to the people here real quick, man. You forced me into these conversations of sports, and I'm not a huge sports fan. So I want to shout to the people, like, do you guys want to see us do sports? Because I have an idea while we're sitting here talking about it. Because I actually do like sports conversations. I'm just not that in deep into it, and I would love for somebody else to sit in this chair and me sit over somewhere over here so I could clickety clack on a computer and like do some fact checking for you and whoever sits here.
Okay.
I would like for the people, seriously, if they would like to see a sports show from the gray space, like let us know.
Yeah.
Like, because I think it'd be cool to have something like that on our channel.
I believe so.
I just don't think I'm the dude.
Okay.
For it
Fair enough.
necessarily.
Fair enough.
Like I like talking to you, even though I said I was forced into it. I don't mind talking about some of the stuff because I can kind of get by.
Right.
You know what I mean? I just am not that invested.
Right.
But I think it would be cool to have a show that would be very sports centric. You know, and kind of talk about everything, and somebody who's just as passionate as you are about, you know, sports. So you guys let us know. Seriously, let us know whether you're seeing this on social media. Hopefully this gets clipped and, you know, write in a social media comment, you know, maybe just not on YouTube, but if we put this out on TikTok and Instagram and all that kind of stuff, to wherever we're at, let us know.
Yeah.
Let us know. I'm really curious. I'd really like to know.
I have a name for the show too if we end up doing it. So you guys let us know.
Yeah, keep that in the bag. Keep that in the bag. You guys stay safe. You guys stay positive out there.
And as always, this is the Gray Space. Peace.